Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a very interesting and yet terrifying upload to share with you all. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. With that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload, shall we? Alright folks, so a couple days ago I did an upload where I shared a young man's experience that he had on the Solomon Islands. His name is Jamie. He went to visit his great-granddad's, his great-granddad had fought over there. He wanted to go and check out some of the 3 war memorials. Now, he was on a 2-week vacation, and he then went on a quest. He had heard different stories from previous to going there, and then talking to some locals. So just a really horrific experience. I'm glad that he was able to share it with us, and then I shared it with you guys, and a lot of you really enjoyed the experience. There was a lot of information shared. And then there was the people that are always there that, this didn't happen. There aren't giants on the Solomon Islands. And my response was, hey, there is information. If you just, prior to commenting, take the time to Google and look, you will see that there is actual lore on this remote island in the Pacific. So when I got hit with those comments, I decided to really kind of deep dive. And I was blown away with some of the things that I found. And one of them was a book that is no longer in print. It seemed to be only in print for a very short time. And for some reason, the book is limited to sales. There's like 4 online for sale right now. And they range from $200 to $500. And it's a fairly decent sized book. It's not like, one of those books that are written by a researcher that, has 6 experiences and they charge $20 for it on Amazon. No, it's actually it's very well detailed, 28 chapters, and full of just amazing stuff. It was written by a gentleman named Marius Boon, and I'm going to share who he was, and then I'm going to share a whole bunch of information out of this book, tie it in with some other stuff that I started to look at, and it really did blow me away. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed as well, because it's going to be information and experiences. So let's jump into it right now. All right, so another comment that really pushed me to make this upload is I had referred to these creatures as being Nephilim. Now, the reason why I did that was because Stephen Quayle, who I believe is one of the foremost, I don't like saying experts, but experts on this field and other fields in this kind of genre. So he disclosed, he is the reason why we know about the Kandahar giant, which had red hair, had supernatural powers. It just wasn't this massive, 15-foot bulldozer of a man. It had supernatural powers. These creatures on Solomon Island are the same way. Red hair with supernatural powers. There's a difference between a giant and a Nephilim. So a Nephilim are often described as giants, specifically understood as the offspring of the sons of God, interpreted by many as fallen angels and human women, making them a supernatural race of large, powerful beings. The term giant can refer to a very tall human without specific supernatural implication of the Nephilim. So if these large creatures that resemble the biblical Nephilim, the Book of Enoch Nephilim, the Book of Giants, I'm going to call them a Nephilim. They have supernatural powers. To me, it isn't just some tall guy that, lives in Sudan, because there are a race of giant people in Sudan that don't have supernatural powers. So they're not an Nephilim, they're just really tall people. So that was the difference. And I believe I was right by calling these creatures that are on Solomon Island a Nephilim. They're using portals to travel from some other dimension or wherever in a group to hunt humans. They are cannibalistic, human hunting monsters. I wanted to tie that in with what I wanted to share. So this book from Marius Boon is called Solomon Island Mysteries. Near where sunken warships of the Battle of Guadalcanal lie, glowing UFOs rise out of the Pacific, fly into the mountains, and disappear into the jungle lakes. Here, a tropical paradise exists with unexplainable ancient ruins, puzzling writings of unknown cultures. Steamy, rugged mountain ranges are inhabited by a strange Sasquatch-like creature. They have come down to villages to kidnap the locals for generations. Terrifying stories of abduction, cannibalism are passed on by the villagers to their children. There are some of the incredible tales that the Solomon Islanders have lived with for decades, and you will read about in this spellbinding book. Author Marius Boon is the son of a World War II Central France resistant leader. He grew up in Mount Hagen in Papua New Guinea Highlands, following his career in the Royal Australian Air Force and as a aircraft / helicopter engineer working in the outback of Australia. He decided to move to Solomon Islands and live in 1995. That's when he started to living there. He started to see and hear all of these things, found it fascinating, and wrote this amazing book. So that's who he is, and I'm going to share a little bit some of these experiences that he shares with us in this book to kind of validate Jamie's story, because it was just like this poor kid. Like, he showed me pictures of the memorials and stuff. He was there, you know, like, why would he make up something to, he's not gaining anything out of sharing his experience with us. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like people don't hear the end. We are treated with respect and kindness because we are all here for one thing: answers. All right. So another thing quickly that I'd like you guys just to think about, which I really find interesting. And as I do more research into this topic, I start to find different puzzle pieces that fit. They might fit for now, but they might not fit later. That's the thing. So I may be wrong, but I wanted to share this very interesting piece with you guys. Saint Christopher, a dog-headed saint, often depicted as a dog-headed saint, was born and raised in Canaan. All right. And as I was doing a little bit of research on this and looking deep into all of this, if he was born in Canaan, right, and raised in Canaan, and he's got a dog-like head, the children of the Nephilim are called the Eliud and are considered a separate race from the Nephilim. Both the Nephilim and the Eliud share the same fate. The Nephilim were giants who were the offspring of the fallen angels and human women. The Bible says that the Nephilim were wicked and violent. The Anakites lived in Canaan, were also descendants of the Nephilim. So, in the book of Enoch, in the book of the giants, they talk about the fallen angels. And they talk about not only did they create offspring with human women, but they also had created other creatures through genetic experimentation, kind of like mad scientist angels, which kind of sounds demonic to me. You're creating other life forms. Only one person can do that, and that's God. But you're going to create other life forms by genetically creating them on your own. Huh, okay. Now, interestingly enough, they created creatures supposedly that did have dog-like head, that did have other kind of animal-like qualities. And I was like, huh. And then the Anakites are a direct descendant of the Nephilim, and they are from Canaan. And St. Christopher is from Canaan, depicted with a dog-like head. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe. Another interesting thing I thought about: Nightmare Hall. These gray and reptilian alien or demons are using humans to genetically modify and create other creatures. Pretty similar to what the fallen angels did, huh? All right, let's jump into Marius's amazing information. So I want to share this part of it with you before I go any further to show that Marius Boon really had a really good observation for what was going on. And this one sentence sold me. You know, if you've ever picked up a book that, you know, you scan through and like, there's always that one sentence or that one thing about the author or that is said in the book, you know, like Bill Cooper's Behold the Pale Horse. There's just the forward alone sold me. I was like, whoa, gotta read this. Skinwalkers in the Pentagon. You know, there's all of these little key things that will sell you. And this is the one that sold me. The Battle of Evermore, a Secret War. A good majority of human beings have at one stage or another in their lives seen UFOs that they could not explain as being man-made. From our known current level of technology, which, apart from the technology the clandestine one-world government mob has hidden from humanity, that was the sentence, would be summed up by a space shuttle. So what are these UFO vehicles? Who makes them? Where do they go when they are not flying around? There have been many times, even in recent years, where thousands of people at one time have seen UFOs, but these sightings have never made it into the world news. And sometimes, when these fantastic events do get broadcasted live over our televisions, their transmission is mysteriously cut, and they are never heard of again, even though they are a talking point amongst the people who witness these UFOs. The subject is soon lost to other mundane facets of life. As a hypothetical example, early one morning, the director of SETA, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, was driving to work at his radio telescope when he saw a UFO fly past and land on a road in front of his car. Where he had now stopped, two alien creatures walked down from the UFO stairs, approached his vehicle, and introduced themselves. With that, the aliens then walked back to their UFO and flew away at the speed of thousands of miles an hour. Absolutely blown away by this experience, the director started his car and continued up onto his mountain. When he arrived at his workplace, however, he simply asked his radio telescope employee any luck last night. The point I'm making is that even though in his heart he has known all his life that there is something else out there, if he had taken the matter further to his superiors with film of the entire episode, he would have been told to forget about it and keep looking to outer space for them. And if he kept going on about the matter, he would have been fired from his job or moved to another government department. Or, more than likely, if he persisted, he'd be accidentally killed. And I'm sure that happens heaps of times. Humanity is and has been totally deceived by organized design when it comes to some of these undiscovered to mainstream science subterranean civilizations from millennium ago to its present day. This also applies to some of the giant hominid species. Some of these Hades-dwelling subterranean extraterrestrial species are what the Christian Bible mythologically refers to as the devil and his angels. I have literally, in the live stream, said that's exactly how I feel. So this guy is like freaking spot on. And I think that's why this book is no longer in publication and available, nor is his website. Nothing. There is nothing. It's crazy. These days, however, this deception toward mankind is being manipulated by a long-established worldwide secretive Homo sapien group that have, to some degree, allied themselves with these evil subterranean species to share in their ultimate ungodly earthly goals. And from an ongoing galactic war perspective, to eventually rule the entire planet before they try to leave for other parts of the galaxy. There are very good reasons why this has not happened yet, and to my knowledge, one of them has everything to do with the extraterrestrials who also, through DNA changes, experimentally made Homo sapien man and some species beneath our planet what they are today. Over the years, while forced to address this issue, I separately arrived at similar conclusions to other interested parties. But there are some things I differ in. For example, the notion that all extraterrestrial subterranean civilizations and species are nice guys. I may be wrong, but nice guys don't use their UFOs to fry people for no reason. And there are plenty of examples of this, apart from the Solomon Islands case, where Festus' father got zapped. This kind of subterranean behavior may be unique to the Solomon Islands, but I am sure far worse goes on. Not only there, but also in other parts of the world. Anyway, that's not good. I also differ with some other in regard to the notion that the secretive Homo sapien one world government has all of the extraterrestrial technology. But once again, I might be wrong, though I hope not. I just don't believe defectors. But I do agree about the absolutely evil disregard the secret one world government has for humanity, and that long time ago, this evil mob deemed the people of the world to be a usable and expendable commodity. And that all extraterrestrials, including the half-human reptilian reptoids and others they are semi-allied with, have determined that this warmongering club is not welcome in the galaxy, even though the reptoids want the same outcome as us surface dwellers as the one world government. Although this secretive mob have most of the technology to get to the other parts of the galaxy quickly, because of their wicked ways and motives, the extraterrestrials thwart every effort that they make when using their man-made UFO vehicles and other means of transportation to jump a bit of space and time, and thank God. Obviously, they don't have all of the technology, and this must be annoying, this must annoy this worldwide devilish mob to no end. While the Cold War nuclear treaty between the United States and the Soviets through the 50s to 80s was escalating in one way, during that same period, another Cold War was escalating between breakaway, ultra-secretive groups within the United States government and military, and some of these subterranean extraterrestrials. I stress that what is written here is only my point of view and is more than likely to differ slightly from those who know the finer details. At the moment, the one world government is strenuously trying to influence world politics in the name of their ungodly desires. This same mob, just as they did before World War II, is hell-bent on bringing this world to rubble with this next World War series, so they can pick up the pieces and rule the entire planet, then spread out throughout the galaxy. To do so, they have made dirty deals with the devil and his mates. The Alliance signed the Alliance treaties. Eisenhower, I believe it was Roosevelt as well, signed some treaties with the alien. So that would be the devil and his mates, wouldn't it? It's bad luck for them, as their sordid love/hate alliance will not last. And as we will see within the next decade, they picked the wrong side. Why would this worldwide secretive society of Homo sapiens, which already have a package deal of most of the extraterrestrial technology from UFOs either found or shot down, plus that which had been given under duress, want to do dirty deeds and become allied in a love-hate relationship with these nasty subterranean civilizations, which, incidentally, they know are big enemies of the species that genetically made and keep an eye on the Homo sapien man. Apart from the fact there is deliberate UFO technology cover-up by this mob for the last 50-some years, it is due to their desire for technological advances over the rest of the world, and also a secretly be able to take on their extraterrestrial mates if need to do, which within a decade may possibly happen. Of course, there are also worldwide energy, religious, ethical, controlling concerns, which no doubt would be some of the big factors, apart from keeping global oil, gas, and arm industries going using taxpayers and their money. There are scores of secret CIA private contracting companies, plus others all working on a top secret extraterrestrial technology. So, and then he talks more about the one world government and such, and a predictable biblical Armageddon. But he is essentially talking about these UFOs being alien life and being demons, and these biblical giants, Nephilim, and a biblical Armageddon. Let's get into a couple of quick encounters that he shares with us from the Solomon Islands, which are just truly amazing. Some of the most primordial beings exist beneath our planet's surface. Their preferred vehicle of transportation around the surface of the planet and beyond is what we call a UFO. How many different species, types, and civilizations exist down there? I doubt many of us will know. It was during the time that I was living in northwest Guadalcanal, having my first UFO experience, that I first started to learn about the existence of the giants of Guadalcanal. As if the entire UFO situation I was experiencing wasn't mind-blowing enough, now every person I came across and asked about these giants would casually respond as if they were common knowledge and part of Solomon Island history, just like the UFOs. A little fascinated by these further dreamlike revelations, I eventually became quite enthusiastic to know why it was that, unlike Australia, everyone in the Solomon Islands knew it to be common knowledge that the giants had been living within the islands for millennia, right to the present day, and that there were hundreds of them everywhere. It seemed no matter whom I asked, that they all knew something of them. In its linguistical ironic that these it is linguistically ironic, my oral surgery, sorry. Ironic that the Solomon Island people, named for their undiscovered to the modern world race of hominids, the giants, as throughout history, including in the Bible and other prominent books, the same name has been used in other parts of the world to describe these huge, elusive, subterranean hominids. To example some facts about the giant race existing in the Solomon Islands, I will use the giants of Guadalcanal as an example. The giants of Guadalcanal are named as such by the Guadalcanal people, and from my observations, they seem to be very similar to Sasquatch, Yeti, the Australian Yowie that can be found in parts of the world. At this moment in time, there are hundreds or quite possibly thousands of these giant people, and I use the word people for a reason. Living inside a huge tropical rainforest jungle mountain ranges of Guadalcanal, as the Guadalcanal people will tell you.
The indigenous Guadalcanal people of the island can support all claims made within this book about the Guadalcanal giants, as they played a major part in the entire grassroots culture for millennia, right to present day. Apart from being known for building timber-based structures with sheltering sago palm and other leaves, the giants have vast cave systems running within most of the mountains of this 200 plus kilometer tropical jungle island. Some of the Guadalcanal giants live organized lifestyles with social construct and structures. And I have come across many Guadalcanal people that believe they can go from east to west through their cave systems without seeing the light of day, and many people that their population numbers in the thousands. The Guadalcanal Islanders also believe that there's a huge city of them living inside or underneath the big mountains of the island. So where does that sound familiar? You know, here on like Andrew Dawson, Banff, Canada. Canadian Rockies, excuse me, is where he saw that giant, which people try to debunk. And I did a lot of research, and I don't believe they debunked it. I think they debunked it for because they didn't do enough research, and people will just literally, you got 1 million subscribers and you make a statement, people are going to believe you. You have X amount of subscribers and you make that same statement, people are going to doubt it. It's kind of interesting how that works. But I was able to locate Andrew Dawson's, where his memorial service was. His, not only his memorial service, but his obit and other things. His wife still talks about him on TikTok to this day. There was nothing fake about that, and it wasn't debunked. And it's neither here nor there. But you got giants on mountains here. You got giants, you know, in Central and South America, in the Amazon, using portals to travel through. Just pretty interesting that it all kind of meshes, huh? The story of Ludy Micode does not stop with his accidental trip to Australia, although there were other reasons why the cannibalism of the Guadalcanal coastal people by the giants came to an end. Ludy Micode played a crucial part in making this happen on the island. Talking about these coastal people that live on the coastal part of the island where Jamie was, and cannibalistic giants. It should be noted that the Guadalcanal people in the east pronounce Luty's last name as Maiconde, whereas people in the west pronounce it as Mycodi. However, both the people from the east and west still consistently share the same story of circumstances and events of Ludy Micote's life. When Micote returned from Australia with all of the tobacco pipes he had accumulated, he made his way back to the big mountains of Guadalcanal, where he was reunited with his family. His grandmother also received her new tobacco pipe and was happy once again. The author is only relying on the most unusual stories as told to him and believed by the Guadalcanal people. He would also like to assure you that he has not the imagination to dream this up. This is Marius saying that. Ludy's father was a chief of the clans of the East Guadalcanal giants, and as his son's disappearance had become big news amongst some of the clans of the East and West, his return to his father, brothers, and family made them all very interested in what had transpired since he had left on that ill-fated day. Ludy told them of his subsequent capture by the white man of a tall sailing ship and how they had gone to a big place over the seas called Queensland, where there were many white men who had kept the Solomon Islanders and other brown-skinned people as workers for their gardens. He explained how some of their gardens were very big, and that sometimes these white men would have many of these island workers. He also told his family how he had befriended some of the Guadalcanal coastal workers who had been tricked, captured, and sent to the white man's land. He said that through his friendship with some of these coastal people, he had found out that they were not just pieces of meat to be eaten, but they actually had a soul, mind, and feelings just like these giants. This was a difficult concept for his family and his clan folk to understand, as they only knew the coastal people of Guadalcanal as food. So what this essentially is Marius heard this story, this experience is passed down through Guadalcanal people, and this Ludy was part of this giant clan, one of the giant clans on the island. So he was captured, brought to Queensland, probably because of his big stature, and befriended the coastal island people that his clan fed upon. This is a difficult concept for his family and clan to understand, as they only knew these people as food. As Ludy was growing up, he began giving away some of his many beloved tobacco pipes to members of the clan groups around the island, recounting his experiences and telling them that they should stop cannibalizing the coastal people. But apart from his own clan and those who to the east, his preaching efforts to change the cannibalism of humans basically fell on deaf ears, most of those from the west. As time went by, the clans of the west become defiant over the matter of ceasing to occasionally eat the coastal people. At around 1910, a rift had formed between both sections of the clans on the island. The clans of the east eventually separated themselves from those of the west who had not stopped the custom of cannibalizing the coastal humans. As mentioned, Ludy, dad, was the chief of the eastern clan and had always managed to keep up his feud with the emptying into something Eastern clans keep this feud from erupting into something violent, but somewhere around 1915, this feud erupted into a full inter-clan giant war. Goodness knows what was happening underground in their subterranean dwellings. In the middle of the night, a large group of giants from the west is absolutely defiant of these new laws being imposed upon them, went to the coastal village of Cacobano in central Guadalcanal and kidnapped over 20 Guadalcanal people and took them back to the mountains to where the western giants lived. A message was sent to the eastern giant clans that these laws were to be abolished or they would kill and eat their captives. When the news of this reached the Makody's clan and others, a plan was formulated to rescue them. With hundreds of giants of the east assembled, and with Ludy Makode leading the battle, they stormed the subterranean dwellings where the giants of the west had their human captives. Many giants died throughout this ensuing battle. With a kidnapped human Loti freed these kidnapped people and signed a sign of atonement for the Guadalcanal people would never again be treated as food. So because he saved these villagers, it is widely believed by the Guadalcanal people that Ludy Makode is still the chief of the giants to Guadalcanal today. So there are different tribes per Guadalcanal people's beliefs and such. Now this is very interesting too. To my knowledge, this is not the first time somebody is telling the rest of the world about subterranean UFO entrances that has been found. All right. So this next piece that I'm going to share with you is essentially, in my eyes, validated what Jamie said to us. That last part of his experience when they were going downriver, they were being hunted at first by 4, then at the end, they were hunted by 5 giants. There is lore of 5 killer giant brothers. The southern side of Guadalcanal is appropriately named the Weather Coast because of the huge waves that constantly batter it from the Solomon and Coral Seas. These days it is sparsely populated due to its remoteness and the influence of the white man. But that was not always the case in centuries past. Prior to 20th century, the Weather Coast had villages scattered along the 150-kilometer southern coastline. The largest of these villages was Tangarer, which is located on the southwest side of the Weather Coast. Each village had a chief who was subservient to the control of the all-powerful paramount chief who lived at Tarangere. These people were fierce headhunting cannibals allied with nearby Russell Islanders, who continually sent headhunting parties to wage war against the other islands. It is during this time that the giants of Guadalcanal still had heavy surface population within the interior of the Guadalcanal region. From time to time, these Weather Coast people would have encounters with these giants. This is the true story of one of those occasions. Reports of a group of bandit killer giants that had been slaughtering and eating people from the east Weather Coast were reached by the paramount chief. It had not been unusual to hear of rogue killer giant here and there, but 5 of them, banded together, posed a real concern. Initially, the attacks over a 100-kilometer coastline were isolated incidents in villages to the east, but as months went by, the murderous killings of these vicious giants began to occur more frequently towards the villages of the west. These packs of giants stalking coastal villages day or night, brazenly raiding them and grabbing whoever they could. They would even sometimes start eating victims alive while everyone else ran in absolute terror. Believing these 5 monstrous giants to be from one family, they became known by all of the Tangier as the 5 killer giant brothers. Many people had lost their lives and had been a meal for this pack of cannibalistic giants. Numerous village chiefs had sent their warrior hunting parties after them, only return in vain with fewer warriors. Fear reigned amongst the villagers of the coastline, for it seemed that nowhere and no one was safe from the slaughtering. Killing ways of the 5 giant brothers, Paramount Chief had become frustrated with all of his chief's futile attempts at subduing the relentless murdering spree of these giants, so he ordered for the drums to call all the village chiefs of the weather coast to come to Tangier for a big meeting. The Paramount Chief had devised a plan to put a little more incentive into all of his people's efforts in defeating the giants. He had decided to place a bounty on the 5 heads of the giants, for any man could bring to him. Within Guadalcanal customs, the eldest born daughter inherits land rights held by her mother and father in the event of their death. Upon marriage, the husband has the control of the land for virtually no ownership rights, which their firstborn daughter inherits again, and so on, with variations of the complicated method of inheritance is still practiced today. The eldest born daughter of the Paramount Chiefs, many wives, was a beautiful young woman named Jenna. Warriors had approached the Paramount Chief on many occasions for her hand in marriage, but he had not given his consent. It was his intention to tell the chiefs at the meeting that a reward for the warrior who would kill and bring back the heads of the 5 giant brothers would be his beautiful daughter's Jenna's hand in marriage and half his pigs. A momentous day arrived when the chiefs had assembled together at the war house. Tangier was bustling with activity from visitors all around the coastal villages who inquisitively had come and had seen a purpose of the Paramount Chief. With the chiefs before him, they began to discuss a problem that they all had with these 5 killer giants. The village chiefs told him that despite sending numerous warrior hunting parties, setting traps and poisonous baits, many of their warriors had been killed, and the gates Many of the warriors have been killed, and the giants still eluded them while continuing to kill the people. Paramount Chief sat quietly listening to all their explanations of why they couldn't slay the giants. He became displeased. So these villages try to wipe out these 5 killer giants. Now, at the end, one man says he does. I've killed the 5 giant brothers, as I said I would, and now I have come for my reward, which you have promised. All the chiefs gestured around the giants' heads to inspect their village custom magic taboo man. In other words, the witch doctor. So like a shaman, the taboo man, who was leading the ceremony, turned to the crowd and told them that this was a gift from their ancestral spirit god. With all that, all the people began to cheer for Yukle for his victories. They mobbed him while carrying above their heads. In short turnaround events, Yuxel had become their hero and a warrior. But it doesn't say, he just says he killed them, but it doesn't say anything about the battle, so he may have made that up just to get his chief's daughter's hand. Now there's a... This is the last part I'm going to share with you guys because it just ties it all together. So when talking about the Draco, right, and such, if you really read about that, they talk about the serpent people. Like, they really, there are some races of aliens that are said to resemble more serpent-like creatures. This is crazy because the dragon snake and Mount Dragon, there are subterranean UFO entrances. So here we go. I did become curious to investigate why indigenous people of the area called these UFOs dragon snakes. And it seems that due to an old Chinaman who during the 1930s moved to Maravovo area, opened up a small trade store. When he saw these flying balls of light and the local curiosity asked him what they were, he named them dragon snakes. And the name stuck ever since. But the name dragon has also been used as many other events and cultures. These UFO sightings. This is interesting right here. Goodness knows what kind of wheeling and dealing Howard's secretive, talking about George Bush and the Prime Minister of the Solomon Islands, and the Prime Minister of Australia at the time. So, secret delegation discussed with the hidden mob in Washington and at Camp David in 2003. Jesus. So, this is just, it ties it all together because Andrew Dawson, another refer back to that. Because why it's here? Because it's in stateside, kind of, even though it was in Canada. But if you remember correctly, that video of Andrew Dawson, he's driving up. He necessarily doesn't see the giant right away. No, he does. The second day, I believe, he goes up there, he sees that odd-shaped craft landing. But it doesn't land. It almost gets to land and then shoots away. So you have UFO tie-ins. You have Dulce, Mount Archuleta looks so familiar or so similar to Andrew Dawson, Canoe Mountain, that, there's the radio towers up there on both places, just UFO experiences, reptilian experiences, Native Americans talking about giants in that Dulce region. There's just a lot of coincidences. So how, in fact, there's all this information, all of these experiences shared to Marius by all of these villagers, yet people still doubt that there are red-haired giants and other kinds of creatures on this very remote island. Here's another thing, and I was talking to my dad about this. I said, it's interesting that the Kandahar giant had red hair, right? How many Middle Eastern people have red hair? Not many. I said, but then thousands of miles away, in a remote little village in the Pacific, there are red-haired giants. I said, it's almost as similar as the pyramids in Egypt, pyramids in Vietnam jungle or Laos jungle, pyramids in Central and South America, all resemble each other in a way of their building and such. It's just too many tie-ins to be coincidence, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you because, you know, Jamie shared his experience, and he was blamed. He was blamed by those islanders, by the islanders of Guadalcanal, because, you know, he wanted to go and look for and see certain things. But like a person in that comment section, that same comment section, one person said it wasn't Jamie's fault. It was the people, the guide's fault. They were the ones that took the money. You know, there's always two parties that are right or wrong. So who knows? With that, I'd like to thank you all for supporting today and this channel. It is your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.